Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Fruit of Grisaia. I actually kind of found that riddle in the last episode pretty interesting. It was definitely fun being able to try to figure that one out, although clearly I didn't get it. But let us continue on and see where we are. Read books in a well-lit area. That was a teaching of my master's. At that time I was accustomed to reading while shut up in a closet or dark room, so those words felt a bit refreshing. Of course, it's not like I'm worried about obeying these teachings of a woman who's already dead, and I'm not still good with direct sunlight. But here I am searching for a bright place with a book in hand anyway. Aren't I adorable? Sure. Sure you are. No reason to wander around looking for a sunny place in this shitty heat. Stepping away from the air-conditioned school building, I unfold the school's admissions guide pamphlet. That's the book? Maybe— oh no, it's a bird's eye view. Okay, got it. On the coded threefold brochure, there's a bird's eye view illustration of the campus, with a mark to the south of the schoolhouse, annotated— oh no, with a mark to the south of the schoolhouse's annotated planned site of library construction. Planned site. Meaning there isn't a library yet, I guess. Although there is something library-esque on the second floor of the building, or the school building, the collection only holds around 200 books. You can apply to have a book stocked if you're after one in particular, and apparently a bookmobile replaces the existing collection every once in a while. But it doesn't seem like it's being used that heavily. In other words, there's no reason to go out of my way to borrow the key to use it. I brought my own books, and there are plenty of well-lit areas besides the library. While casually looking over the pamphlet, I find the words Rose Garden. This is definitely our principal's doing. Oh god. Oh god, the cringe. The slight cringe there. And this is what we have to deal with for some time. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. I don't know why it's a little delayed on my end. I just noticed my videos are a little bit delayed on the recording. Not that that's a problem. I'll just— you guys won't notice it. But I guess this is what— I guess I should have expected this, given I know her personality a bit. So I can easily imagine a certain woman who doesn't know how to act her age deluding herself. Pretty flowers might calm your mind, but they won't fill your belly. If you've got room to grow them, it would be better used for an edible plant, but telling her that would probably just make things unpleasant. He's going for the whole functional reform idea. It has its pros and its cons. I'll just have to remember the great principal Tachibana with a "good day, One-sama" the next time I see her. Oof. At that point, you might as well just call her Auntie. Rose garden, eh? I don't have any interest in inedible flowers, but I guess there would be a shade tree or two as well. Imagining myself reading under a tree surrounded by blossoming roses brings a smirk to my face. Guided by these silly thoughts, I decide to head towards the rose garden for the first and only time. The only time, huh? You only live once, I guess. They call it a rose garden, but not a single one's in bloom. Based on this map, this is definitely the right spot, and there's even a white arch that seems appropriate. But from what I can see, there aren't any flowers or roses in flower. In bloom, probably? Maybe the garden's still a work in progress, or perhaps they're cutting the buds during the summer. Well, not like I came to see the roses in the first place, so whatever. That noise, though. Ah. I see a little Makina has fallen asleep. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting anyone else to be here. No, more importantly, what the heck is she doing? Is she reenacting Sleeping Beauty here or something? I think it's Sleeping Beauty. I don't have my Disney movies down still. I used to, but it's been a very long time. Is that a cat too? That is a cat. I approached silently and touched Makina's neck in an area of her What? Are we like checking her pulse? It's not like she's dead. We are checking her pulse. She's got a pulse. On close inspection, she's breathing quietly, so I guess the wicked stepmother, Amane in this case, didn't feed her a poisoned apple. She's sleeping? Wait, this thing is a cat, I think? A large cat. How can we not tell what a cat is? A large cat is serving as the soundly sleeping Makina's pillow. I'd taken it for a stuffed animal at the first glance. Oh, I see. It sure looks like a fluffy toy, but when I draw close, the stubby ears buried in its fur twitched like miniature radar antennas. My next question: why sleep out here? Soon resolves itself. Let's see. They need to do a little bit of volume mixing here, because those sound effects are a little too crazy. I guess I could lower them, but that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, I guess. I see. It's definitely nice and cool here. Cats are knowledgeable about cool places, or so they used to say. As for Makina, I expect she was wandering all around by herself as per usual, then grew exhausted and collapsed into a sudden sleep sleep on the spot. I don't think she's that carefree. She wouldn't be sleeping on a cat, for Christ's sake. I watched the partially gnawed apple on Makina's chest rise and fall with her breathing. She fell asleep in the middle of eating, just like a baby. I noticed that Makina's mouth is half open, dripping transparent drool. I don't see any in there. Not that I'm actually actively looking. Not to mention her hair is a scruffy mess, the ribbon on her uniform is crooked, and she's wearing different socks on her left and right leg. What's with this girl? As I look down upon her, Makina suddenly sniffles noisily. Was not expecting that kind of sound. What a weirdo. It's been a while since the last time I laughed at a woman's sleeping face. Even as I'm filled with the desire to keep watching, discomfort at the peaceful atmosphere of this place also wells up within me. At that moment I sense someone watching me, look over to find that Makina's pillow cat is awoken and is staring up at me in surprise. Sorry to bother you. Go back to sleep. I leave them, taking care to avoid making noise, and sit down under a tree a little ways away. Wandering around as she pleases, then falling asleep in the nearest cool place when she gets tired. I see, she certainly does remind you of a cat. I'm envious. That's not sarcasm or anything, I'm genuinely envious of Makina. I'm sure that she brings that little pocket of naturally peaceful space with her wherever she goes. I think that's something worth envying, and it's probably very precious to her as well. Which might well be why she doesn't want to step outside the sanctuary of a school when she can avoid it. Inside this sanctuary would crumble in a moment without the protection of others. I wonder if the day will come when I too can sleep in that utterly defenseless way. Knowing our character, it's probably not going to happen. Turning towards the sound, I noticed the fat white cat from before peering from the direction of that thicket I just left. Rustling its way through the foliage of stubby legs, it stops suddenly when it spots me sitting under the shade of my tree. Glaring at me with sleepy-looking eyes, it lets out a single disgruntled meow. My bad. After getting suddenly awoken in the middle of a pleasant nap, it's only natural. If I were pulled out of bed on a Sunday morning by some pushy religious solicitors, I'd make a similar face. Although the fat cat doesn't seem to have accepted my apology, he snuffles roughly and lumbers away from this place. As I'm watching the cat's dignified exit, the bushes start to rustle again. I'm waiting until she freaks out on us or something. Brace for impact. I hear the sound of a dim-witted creature awakening and lazily stretching out its body. When I take a look, Makina is crouched on the ground on all fours, bending her back. Alright. She really is a cat in human form. Makina opens her mouth, holds down a yawn, and rubs roughly at the tears spilling out of the corner of her eyes. After a restless look around the area, she draws herself up off the ground. It's not like I'm doing anything I need to be ashamed of, but before I realize it, I've hidden myself from her. What is that face supposed to be? After standing stock still for a moment, Makina takes a bite from the apple in her hand and wanders off briskly. Where's she off to now? It doesn't look like she's got any particular destination in mind, driven by an interest I find difficult to pin down. I decide to quietly follow Makina. Yeah, that's a great idea. Just make sure she doesn't have a whistle. There's no regularity to Makina's accent. Just when I think she's walking straight towards someone, she'll come to a sudden stop, look around restlessly, and head off in a different direction. It doesn't seem like she's lost or anything, so I suppose she's just moving wherever her whims take her. It makes it incredibly troublesome for me to tail her. Not that it'd be a serious problem if she notices me, but if I awkwardly call out to her now, I have the feeling she'll just run off again. I skillfully hide my presence and continue showing her movements. Tailing a girl without her knowledge, objectively speaking, I guess this would be stalking. Just as I'm finally starting to get fed up with following Makina's directionless rambling, which resembles the random staggering of a sleepwalker more than anything else, the rare wandering monsters in question comes to a halt. Her resting place is in an area on the outskirts of the school courtyard, in front of an artificial cement pond of a certain purpose. Makina totters her way up to the pond, thrusts her hand into the pocket of her skirt to retrieve some half-eaten white bread, and starts tearing off chunks to throw into the water. I guess she's feeding the fishies. Every time Makina's small hand hurls a bit of bread into the pond, a loud splashing sound resonates from the surface of the water. Apparently there are fish being kept in the pond, and she's feeding them. It's not a bad thing at all. She's fattening them up to eat? Oh god. Clawfish? Makina looks around the area rapidly, grabs a short tree branch lying nearby, then leans over the depths of the pond and begins poking into the water. Although I was puzzled there for a moment, it seems like she's trying to capture a crawfish she spotted in the pond. I like this little graphic they've got on screen right now, it's kind of funny. This looks risky. Given her character, it's obvious she'll be taking a face-first dive into the pond very soon, if I just sit here. I approach Makina from behind and call out to— yeah, that's a great idea. Hey, watch out or you'll fall into the pond! Catch her! That's a weird facial expression to make. That can kind of— eesh. That's kind of a creepy facial expression. I guess I should have called out to her out of nowhere. Makina's hand slips off the ground in a stereotypical slapstick pratfall. Whoops. Something reaching out to the floundering Makina, I firmly seize the collar of her school uniform and pull it back to safety. Dangled by the nape of her neck like a kitten, Makina lets out a feline cry. You're light. Are you even 40 kilos? There isn't any difference in weight from the backpack I'm always carrying. Given this weight and size, I could lug her a good 25 kilometers before in a single day. Oh, sorry. I wasn't planning to call out to you, but it's better than letting you fall into the pond, isn't it? No need to thank me. I did the natural thing given the Natural. Sure. We can. I guess we can scratch. We'll go ahead and mark up approaching a girl from behind and calling out her name as natural. Sure. Look at me, shamelessly doing the life-saving hero number, despite being in a large part responsible for the problem in the first place. I might have the makings of an American politician. Ooh. Ooh. Sick burn. Makina gives a quick bow of thanks and without another word starts to run away from me yet again. Hey, hold it. Where do you think you're going? Don't give me... why are you running away from me? When she asked me point blank, it's not like I have any particular justification for detaining her here. That said, it's kind of unpleasant to be avoided this blatantly. At the very least, if there's a reason she's doing this, I'd want to know about it. I think I asked this before, but... are you scared of me? Ah. If there's some reason why you're avoiding me, how about telling me? If possible, I'll try to address it. Again with the silent treatment. Deciding to pursue the conversation more patiently, I squat down to match my line of sight with Makina's. Do you remember my name? Ah, not bad. That's right, Yuji's fine. Oh. Okay then. Well, call me whatever you want. We went from first names to brother. Okay. Oni? I have to say, being called her big brother is a bit embarrassing on my end, but... well, alright. When I turn around in response to the splashing sounds coming from the pond behind me, there are a number of fish gathered at the surface of the water, flapping their mouths in demand of more food. It seems they've come to expect a handout when people stand near the pond. Whoops. Makina, you still have breadcrumbs left? Makina thrusts her hand into her skirt pocket and rummages through its contents. How big are your pockets? As she talks, she pulls things out of her pockets, one after the other. The items that emerge are mostly sweets like candy, chocolate, and chewing gum. If you were just sleeping recently, how the heck are any of those? Is the chocolate still not melted? Along with the erratic selection of tools like nail clippers, rubber bands, and glue sticks. I want to know. I want to ask why, but I don't think I want to find out why. Although I've heard that women's purses are connected to the fourth dimension, this girl's pockets seem to be connected to a garbage dump. Oof. Makina carefully rains down the rubbish that emerges on the ground around her. One after the other. What is this? I pick up a plastic container shaped like a large film canister. There's a label pasted on the side filled with numbers and symbols of uncertain meaning. Oh, I think I know who that is. Matsuji. I'm not going to steal or anything. Here, take it. When I hold out the case to her, Makina snatches it back instantly. I'm not gonna sneak bites of other people's food at my age. I just want to say that face though. Amane, huh? A certain oversized woman. Do you know what we've been calling Amane the past 5 episodes? Probably more like 4, but regardless. I didn't. Just saying the first name that popped into my head. It really was her? I guess she's got a surprisingly gluttonous side. Good as her word, Makina shoves her some half-eaten bread under my face. No, I wasn't planning to eat it. I take the bread scraps from Makina, tear off some small pieces, and throw them into the pond. The fish at the surface struggle like a pack of piranha for food, messily gulping it all down. Nice appetite, huh? I thought these things were carp, but now that I get a closer look, they're actually goldfish? From a goldfish snatching game, huh? These were originally goldfish from a scooping game. They're almost certainly the tiny kind that's sold as live food for carnivorous fish in pet shops, but these things are huge. Maybe that's why they've come to expect everyone to give them handouts when someone approaches the pond. Fish generally could keep growing as long as they're alive, so the more you feed them, the bigger they'll get. But just what have you been feeding them? Ah, I get it. Fish don't really have a sense of being full, and they don't feel nerve pain either, so they'll eat as much as you give them, even if their stomachs are bulging out. The #1 cause of death among aquarium fish is indigestion, or being overfed, or that's what it said in something I read when I was a kid. I think it was a magazine called Monthly Junior Science. There was an article about raising fish in ozonated water? Where it was mentioned? I don't even, that's something I've never seen before. I don't think necessarily fish, it just seems like a science place. Not just fish, it had features on things like animals or space as well. My older sister was seriously a dedicated reader. I'd pick up magazines like that when she was finished. Whoops. Although half of it went over my head. As I'm recalling the content of the science magazines I read back then, I suddenly remember something. Hey Makina, you had some pickled squid in that pocket, didn't you? Why do you just have pickled squid in your pocket? You know what, I don't want to know. No, just take it out for now. Also, have anything we could use as string? Are we gonna fish him out? You'll see. There was a twig earlier. Receiving the squid from Makina, I firmly tie one end of the thread around it, then knot the other end of a tree branch I picked up at random. Exactly. So now we toss the squid dangling by the thread into the pond. Around the area where I threw the squid, I could see the shape of the crawfish Makina was poking at earlier. When I jiggle the squid in front of his face, within a matter of seconds the crawfish extends his pincers and firmly seizes the bait. There, hooked him. See that? We should totally give it to you so you can chase Amane around with it. It's a crawfish, not a clawfish. You've got the word wrong. As I dangle the captured crustacean in front of her eyes, Makina stares at it with an expression of immense curiosity. She called it clawfish again. There must be a lot of edible aquatic plants or something in there. Crawfish turn red when they have an abundant food. They kind of get faded, don't they? They turn blue. Oh. No, I'm thinking I'm thinking something completely different. If you take a small newborn crayfish and continually give it food like potatoes, radishes, or sardines that don't contain carotene, it'll turn blue in a month or so. Didn't know that. I read in a book that when I was a kid and ended up trying it out myself. You eco-terrorist. There were some that ended up with a lot of violet spots or white flecks, but I remember getting a few that turned deep blue as well. Okay, then try to catch one yourself. I pulled the captured crawfish off the squid and returned it to the pond. then hand the fishing pole to Makina.
私に釣れるかな。や
Can't,
ったことないのよさ。
can't be that hard. Experiencing new things is always worthwhile, so you might as well start by trying to catch one yourself.
じゃあやってみる。
Don't fall into the pond, alright? Also, try to get the smallest one you can.
頑張るのよさ。
Let's see if she can do it. Taking the crude pole from me, Makina forcefully hurls the squid into the pond. Oh.
ザニガニ釣れるといいな。
Let's see if we can catch it. I already told you it's crawfish, not clawfish.
仕方がないのよさ。私はバカだから。
Don't worry about it, because I'm an idiot. Okay. Is that the issue here? I mean, I do remember pronouncing snail as smail back when I was in elementary school for a while, but after my sister pointed it out to me, I stopped making that mistake. Didn't you have someone to point that sort of mistake out for you? Your mom, for instance?
お母さんは私のこと
Oh,
嫌
I
ってる
remember
か
her
ら。
mom. Let's see. There's no mother in the world who hates their child was my mother's line, but by now I'm all too well aware that the world isn't that simple. I suppose there really are mothers who hate their children, and for those children, that can't be a topic they want to chat about with some stranger. An awkward attempt at a consolation would backfire here.
お兄ちゃんは優しい人なのね。
Huh? Me? Seems like I haven't quite gotten the hang of being called Oni-chan yet. You serious? How am I nice?
ね、私の家族に無関心でいてくれるところ。
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I wouldn't ask as well, so... Just wasn't interested enough to risk it.
なんで嫌われてるのか興味ない？
I wouldn't say that. I'd probably say more I'd rather not dig up old scars. I stare steadily at Makina's small back, silhouetted against the pond. If you want to talk, I'll listen.
ね、それは私がバカだから。
Don't they say that kids are cuter when they're a little dumb?
私のバカを侮っちゃいけないのよ。こう見えても私、札付きで筋金入りのバカなのよさ。
I see. Can't say I've ever heard of anyone with that fierce a reputation for being stupid before. Well, don't worry about it. There's nothing but idiots in my vicinity, including me.
私ね、別にお兄ちゃんのことが嫌いで避けてたわけじゃないのよ。逆に嫌われたくなくて、バカな子だなってそう思われないように、なるべく近寄らないようにしてたのよさ。
Ah. It's like I said, I'm surrounded by idiots. If I went around hating people for something like that, I'd run out of my supply of hate real fast. Well, there certainly are people who can't hold together their fragile sense of self-worth except by looking down on others. Even a few true idiots who take their emotions to the extreme, become dictators or cult leaders and launch hunts against their inferiors. But why assume you'll be hated over something like that anyway? That way of thinking seems counterproductive. Debase yourself by saying I'm just an idiot, or you'll just puff up the many self-styled geniuses of the world.
でもね、
Very true.
私、あまねみたいに綺麗じゃないし、ユミちゃんみたいに頭良くないし、何の才能もないのよさ。
There's no point in standing around with your mouth open waiting for talent to fall from the sky. Just make it your own.
どうやって？
No matter what you're doing, the most essential thing is to not give up. Fail as many times as it takes. Keep trying persistently until you call yourself average.
それでも人並みだよ。
Average is just fine. If you can collect a nice group of average level skills, then you're already above average. You've created your own sort of talent. Being a hard worker is a talent in its own right, very true. were my sister's words. And from that group of average skills, you can work to improve further on things that you think you're suited for. Also, sometimes having a skill in something completely different can show you how it looks or how some things are done completely in a different way. So, I definitely find that it's better to be well-rounded than to focus entirely on one thing. Of course, it's still, I mean, in our reality of this world, it's better to still have a thing that you're really good at. But having a nice set of soft skills to kind of support it is also good. A person blessed with talent, in a manner of speaking, it's just someone who found a path well suited to them early on. When you get down to it, people can accomplish nearly anything as long as they don't give up. Obvious, but it's true. On the other hand, guys who give up at the first setback will never get anything done. There's no need to rush. You're still a kid, you've got time. Try out anything and everything, struggle around as much as you want. I rest my hand on Makina's head with a gentle thump. It's at just the right height for this sort of thing. That's what school is for, right?
そうなのかな?
At the very least, I think the principal wants the school to be that sort of place. So you might as well throw out your chest and do as many stupid things as you want. With pride, of course. I'm probably reading this in a personality that's not Yuji at all. Of course, if this girl ends up doing something truly dramatically stupid, the principal will be one facing the music. So I'm probably overstepping my bounds just a bit here.
じゃあ私バカでもいいの?
Why not? Being dumb is fine. In the first place, guys who go around calling themselves geniuses are either weaklings or with fragile egos or jokers who use the line to get a laugh. And even if you were some genius, that makes it easy to mistake yourself for a perfect human and start slacking off. Hairs like that get passed by the tortoises of the world eventually.
そっか。やっぱいい人ね、お兄ちゃん。
Don't get me wrong, I just wanted to try playing the nice guy for a bit. You shouldn't trust me that easily, got it?
あ、知ってるそれ。ツンデレってやつなのよさ。チルチルがいつも練習してるのよ。勘違いしないでよねって。
I didn't say it's not like I'm doing this for you or anything. How to put this? I'm not sure how I feel about being put in the same boat as that girl. Makina, I think you got a bite.
おお、なんとしたことか。
No need to rush. Slowly pull it out of the water.
ザリガニ、あ、違う。ザリガニ釣れてる。釣れたのよさ。
I like the constant change of expressions there. That's actually kind of clever. But we'll continue this scene in the next episode of The Fruit of Grisaia. Hope you guys are enjoying this visual novel, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next live stream or video that I do. Until then, I'll catch you guys all later.